This was a test designed to select true geniuses. The examiner pointed to 3 switches on the wall and said that only one of them could turn on the light upstairs. Under the rule that candidates were allowed to go upstairs only once to check, they had to figure out which switch was the correct one. A girl immediately raised her hand and answered. Based on her years of life experience, she confidently claimed it had to be the first switch. However, the examiner announced that her answer was wrong because the logic clearly didn't hold up. Others then suggested using a mirror to look around corners, or even sending up a drone to help. But all of these ideas were rejected one by one since they weren't actually feasible. At that moment, Rennie raised his hand. He explained that all you had to do was turn on the first switch for 10 minutes, then turn it off and switch on the second one. After that, you immediately run upstairs to check. If the light is on, then the second switch is obviously the correct answer. If the light is off but still warm to the touch, then the first switch must be the one. And if neither of those is true, then the answer can only be the third switch. This line of reasoning instantly earned praise from the examiner. But in the very next second, Martina, who was standing behind him, proposed an even simpler method. She pointed out that according to building regulations, the distance between a switch and the door must be exactly 2 inches. Clearly, only the second switch met that standard. The examiner said her approach was basically exploiting a loophole. But Martina replied that as long as you get the right answer, that's all that matters. The examiner was left speechless and had no choice but to let Martina pass as well. The next day, Rennie faced the third round, a written exam. But when he confidently opened the test paper, he realized he was about to get a 0. Every question was extremely tricky, and some of the words were ones he had never even heard before. One candidate completely broke down and ran out of the exam room in tears. Rennie wasn't doing much better himself, but after 40 agonizing minutes, he suddenly remembered a rule the teacher had announced before the exam. They were told to carefully read both the questions and the answers. Rennie quickly went back and compared the wording on the paper. To his surprise, he discovered that all the answers were actually hidden within the questions themselves. After this realization, he immediately started writing at full speed. He managed to finish the entire test just before time was up, once again becoming the only person to advance. While he was waiting, the successful candidates from other exam rooms also arrived, including Martina. After talking with each other, they learned that George hadn't noticed the hidden trick at all, but still scored full marks purely through his massive knowledge base. Martina, on the other hand, admitted she didn't know how to answer a single question. She had simply helped the teacher drive away a disruptive parent, and as a special exception, the teacher allowed her to advance. 2 other students also passed. In the end, all 5 candidates who made it through the written exam were finally assembled. The 4th round would no longer be a written test, but a comprehensive challenge of both physical strength and intelligence.